Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video we are going to talk about the edit of the data part through the jQuery. This is in continuation with the existing parts that I have developed. You could see part 6, 5 and other parts that are in continuation. And here we will be actually creating an edit button just like the delete button we created in the last video. So we'll be using the edit button with some Bootstrap and some Modal dialog boxes to actually show up a Modal dialog box for editing of the data, and we'll be using the same example. So let's try this and see how we could use the edit data functionality with jQuery, EJS and Bootstrap. So in order to work with the edit part, just like I'll show you the application, this is the delete functionality which we implemented. So the edit part will try to use the Bootstrap's script features, the Modal dialog box in order to provide that functionality. So let's go on to the Bootstrap, and if you search for Bootstrap and get started with Bootstrap, these are the two links which you could use. Let's say go back and then just go over here and then go on to the docs. And then introduction, yes, over here, if you could just use this script, this is this one, both of these scripts. So one is the popper and one is the Bootstrap. So I've already included this script into my stuff over here. So if you could see, of course, we need to use the jQuery also to get that, but we are using both of these scripts. So that is the first part, so that when you actually click on the models or anything, so you are able to actually get that functionality implemented. Now the second thing which you need to do here is to actually search for model, because the model dialog boxes probably would be the best way going forward. So this is the one which is here, so you could just like copy this whole script. This is if you click on here, you get this kind of a model dialog box, which is okay for us. So we'll close that. We'll copy it to the clipboard. So once I copy it, there are two parts to that. So the first is, let's say I'll paste it over here after the body part. Let's say this is the model dialog box. Now there are two parts to that. This is one, the button, which was there to actually click that and the model dialog box shows. So I'll cut that and go it into the actual TD over here, so that we actually create a new toggle button out here to show the edit part up there. So that's my actual requirement. So I've created that. So this is what I want to show an edit record. And even for the header part, I'll just use another one that is, let's say, edit action. So this is edit, and I'll also give, let's say this is primary, you could give a warning, and then you, let's say, give a class called as edit. Just like a delete, we give an edit over here. And if we just go back and check it out in our application, so you would see there's another button, edit, and if you click this, nothing is happening out here because we still need to kind of do some action out here, and how we could actually show that dialog box. Now on the clicking of this edit, what we are gonna do here is, so we'll create another function within the jQuery. So dollar, this is edit, and I'll say on click, and we are going to call a function which is here. And before like we call this model dialog box, so you could see there is an ID of this, which is an example model. We could use that, or we could change it. Model title we are going to change, let's say edit department. That's what we are going to use. This is the body part, which is already there, and then probably we could have the footer where you could change those buttons or some classes out here. Now fundamentally I just need this example model, and I'll go over here, and then I'll do is dollar and hash. So I'll simply say, which is the name of the model dialog box, and I'll say model. I could use a toggle property. So let's see if it works. Go back, refresh that, edit, So yes, it starts showing me edit department. There is something which is in the body part, but we have not actually created that. So we need to work on that. So once we have this, now what we could do is we could customize this whole model dialog box so that we could have one department name text box to allow the users to edit that. And on the clicking of the save changes, we would actually making a post request to actually go back to send the data to some route. The route would actually update that data, and then finally we'll be closing this dialog box. So let's get on to that. Let me actually refresh it, this, and this one is okay, fine. Let's go back and see it around where it is. So we'll just need our text box out here. So I'll just create a, let's say firstly a span which is ID is equal to department ID, because I need to capture the department ID also. And then I'll create one input type is equal to let's say this is text, and then ID is equal to, let's say, dname, name is equal to dname, and then I don't have the value, we'll set it through jQuery. So that's what we are going to do here. So once we actually click on this, so we'll get that information from there. So we could use as let current row is equal to we'll say $this dot closest. That's what we'll do. And then variable ID is equal to, let's say, current row dot, I'll say find td equivalent 0 dot text. That's one. Let dname is equal to current row dot find td and equivalent 1, so that I can get the department name. And yes, and then I finally need to put that department name out there. So what I'll do is hash, I'll say department ID, which is actually a span tag which we created. So we'll just set the text is equal to ID, and then dollar, let's say we'll just use department name, and we'll use dot value, and we'll pass on the department name. So if we just refresh this out, click on the edit, so we get the text box, but the value is not there. So let's try seeing that why the value is not coming here. This is 1, this is 0, td1, td2, which looks fine to me. Okay, so we just need to kind of get it toggle. We'll get it toggle afterwards. This one, we'll refresh that, edit. Okay, so it doesn't really show this around, so we'll have to see why it is not showing on the edit. Now let's firstly go back to the text box, which is here, text ID dname, name is equal to this, and I'll say class is equal to from control, which is there. So it will just implement that class for us, okay, which looks fine. And then finally we have this department ID. This is the dname, which looks fine for us. And then we'll just go out here. So we'll see firstly whether we are really getting those values or not, because if we are not getting those values, probably we might be skipping those. So test ID and dname. So refresh it, open up the dev tools, and in the console, so you click on the edit and close. Yes, so we cannot see those values out here, and the reason for that is, so this dot closest, oops, we skipped the tr because we need to capture the tr. Okay, click on edit. So if you see 1 and legal is there. Now let's say on the close button you want to kind of close it. So what you could do here is, this is the close button, and on this close button I can give an ID over here. So let's say model close, and I could just use copy that and then paste it over here so that I could actually close it. Model close on click, and I'll use a function which makes sense, and then finally I'll just do the toggling over here again. That's what I need to do. So if you refresh it, edit, close, yes, it gets closed, right? So similarly we could do it on another one also, but now fundamentally what we need is, we need to click on the save changes, and then it actually posts the data to the actual route, and then it actually makes the route work. So let's try firstly get on to this one, that is the save changes. So in the save changes, I'll just create another one, id is equal to model save button. This is the one which I have, and I'll be actually creating another one, $hash on click. So you actually save this, like you actually click on this, so you are gonna save that. So what you need to do here is, you need to capture those details. So what you could do is, let department ID is equal to $, and you just simply say department ID. You could capture that text out here, then let dname is equal to $, and then you actually use it for the dname text box dot value. You capture that, and then finally you make an AJAX call. I could just copy this and we'll paste it over here. So AJAX, so we'll say update department post, department ID is this, and dname is equal to dname, which looks fine, and then data was updated, and this is what you need to do, and that's how you are going to supply these two values. I'm just gonna convert this into parse int so that it actually gets converted into that. So now you just need one URL over here, that is the update department. So we'll go on to the test express server. So the one which we created over here, we'll use this one at post update department rec.response, and then finally what we need to do here is, we'll be using a loop and we'll be going through that, and then we'll be actually updating it for the ID where it is. So we'll just use department ID, and then we'll just go through that. So departments.length, so if departments.id is equal to this, and then let dname is equal to rec.body.dname. So then what we'll do here is, departments of d.dname is equal to the new dname, which will set, and then we'll just return. We don't want to continue, and then finally we actually do the record updated, so in case you want to send it back. So let's give it a try and see. So you close this, refresh it, you click on edit, let's say legal, legal department is changed to legal new. I'll just press save changes and inspect. So if you see in the console, ID is not defined. That's where it is showing in the show departments over here, that is ID is not defined. So we just need to make sure that we go back in the department, so the ID is not defined over here, which is department ID, which makes sense. And once I'll click on this, this whole is done, I just want to actually send an AJAX call, and in the success, once it is done, I just want to toggle that so that that gets actually closed. So we'll actually close it. So you refresh this out, refresh, edit. So we'll say new, and we'll say save changes. Okay, we'll close that, refresh it. Let's see. No, it is not done, and we'll just see whether we receive that information or not. Update department, and test expresses update department, which looks fine. So we'll just do a console.log test, and we'll get the values ID and dname, and oops, where it is equal to ID. Okay, it is equal to the parseInt.id, then only you do that. So we'll just go on, refresh that, edit, legal new, save the changes. $AJAX function is not a function. Okay, we'll check that out, why it is not a function. So $AJAX, so are we not using the $AJAX URL type, and then this looks fine. Success example, which let's try to debug it. The debugging actually resulted it out a couple of things. So let's see. This is department ID. We are getting that. Department name. So we get that, and then we just hide the model dialog box, and we make an AJAX request, which is there. Update department, type is equal to post. You pass the data. Once it is success, you say alert data was updated, and then you just change the window location to a specific route which you want. That's what we do. And in the test express server, we just receive that department ID and dname. So we'll go through the loop for the arrays. We'll match the department ID, and where the department ID matches, we just actually change the name to that, and then finally we put the result back. So let's test this out now. So refresh that. If you click on edit, it's legal. Let's say I just want to change new. So when I'll click on save changes, yes, data was updated, and it automatically moves on to that. Legal new, you want to change this. Software development to, let's say, microservices or something like this. So you could do that, save changes. Okay, data was updated. So I think so, friends, this is how you could actually use two parts. One is the delete and one is the edit functionality, which is normally a form of the CRUD operation that you'll use. I hope you might have liked this video. If you have not already worked with jQuery or Node or EJS, you could use this Bootstrap combination with jQuery to actually use the model dialog boxes which are pre-built. You don't have to like reinvent the wheel, and you could easily utilize that in your project. Thank you guys. I'll be coming back with more videos, so stay tuned and have a good one. Thank you.